Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Welcome to Swami Streams, another episode starting right now. Hello, Freestyle Coder. See you there. How's everything? Thanks for joining me today. And yeah, when I say I'm still setting up, what it sort of means sometimes is, I'm taking the last bite of my lunch, possibly. Might have been what I was doing. But sounds better to say I'm still setting up, right? Hey, Bruno's here. Hello, Bruno. How are you? Thanks for joining me today. I am really excited about this stream. Today, we're going to add Active Directory authentication to our ASP.NET Core applications. And I don't know. To me, well, these are the things that get me excited, I guess. I don't know. I'm a geek. I like this stuff. That's I guess why we do this. So hope everybody's having a good day. It's really warm here, and it's strange. Really warm here. I'm in the Philadelphia suburbs area, and kids have a half day from school today because of conferences, and so I'm waiting for them to come busting in through the door. Hopefully I told them I'm streaming, the whole thing, but hopefully they'll be good. And so we're going to get into some authentication stuff. But if you're joining me for the first time, do me a favor. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you can on the show. Appreciate it. And if you are on Twitch or Mixer, follow me so you know when I'm going live other times. But Wednesdays at noon Eastern time in the US, that's the time I go live. So, what are we doing today? I mentioned earlier Azure Active Directory authentication for ASP.NET Core. So, what this boils down to is, I think of this as what used to be like Windows authentication, right? You go to a web app and you log in, if it was your intranet app, you would just be logged in automatically, right? And I kind of like that experience. Some people do, some people don't. I kind of like that experience for my intranet applications and things like that. And now our intranet exists in Azure. We have Azure apps, and it's a little different. But since we synchronize our Active Directory with Azure Active Directory, we can authenticate our users with that. And hey, I'm psyched that Philly Azure and Philly.net, Space Shot hosting me. Appreciate all the hosts. I like any little bit of exposure I can get. I'm trying. The show gets getting more and more people watching each day, each week, and that's exciting. I'm hoping to see this thing grow and really have fun with it. So I was saying, so the first thing is, of course, is you have to synchronize your Active Directory. Well, you don't have to. You need to have some kind of Azure Active Directory to do it. But the experience that users get then is when they come to a page, hey, thanks, Bruno. Bruno's hosting me too now. Appreciate that. So when a user comes to my web page, if the web page requires authentication, they will get that prompt, but it's like an Azure login. It's like Microsoft, that's what it is, the Microsoft login page that we're all used to seeing. We'll see it here on the demo today. And you just log in with your Azure credentials, your Azure Active Directory credentials, and you're on the site. And you can do other things too. You can have groups, you can manage security groups and things like that. And then if you do it right, it just ties right into ASP.NET authentication. So, and we'll get into this, but you'll see things like the authorization attribute that you can use on controllers and actions and things like that. And it all kind of ties together well. Why don't we start writing some code? Because that's what I like to do. Give me one sec. Just peeking around here. Just peeking around at some stuff. Okay, so let's go to our solution. let's see. That is, we're going to go to Shwami Streams, our web application, and starting it up here. Let's see my there we go. I like to have my sound effects playing for. Oh, all right. Well, this thing opened. I was too slow on my sound effects. I got. Oh no, I'm not showing my screen. Hang on. If you were about to tell me, I caught it first, so I'm kind of glad about that. Yeah, Freestyle. I got it. Thank you, Freestyle, for the heads up. There's my desktop. That engine start sounded like Visual Studio. Thanks, Space Shot. Yeah. I've got 4 big sound effects. This is Shwami Streams. You know, I don't have any of those other like effects, like when people comment or whatever. I don't have things that like happen in the chat, and I don't know. I don't have any of that stuff. But I've got my 4 little sound effects, and I keep thinking I'm going to add some more because I don't know. When I was a kid, I was always into, you know, playing around with those kind of things. Like I wanted to have like a TV show or like a radio show, and I thought it would be cool to have like these zany sounds. And so I guess I'm living out my childhood. You know, quick side note, my son was asking me the other day, he said, you know, what did you want to do when you were a kid? What was it that you wanted to be? Because he's 12, he's, you know, thinking about stuff like that. And I said, you know, it took me a while to remember. I'm like, you know, I wanted to be on the radio. Friend of mine was really into it, and I kind of got caught up. We used to like take records, and we would record the records onto a cassette, and we would like talk in between the songs and be like, hey, here's another song by so-and-so, you know? And I guess this is the modern DJ now. Today, like streaming is like the modern, maybe it's like the modern radio DJ or whatever that is. You know, because we talk a lot. I don't know. So, Freestyle Coder, yeah, I got, if I have 4 more than you, I'm using a Stream Deck. It's really easy to wire up buttons on the Stream Deck to some sound effects. I get the sound effects from, what website is it? Is it SoundCloud? Let me think. What's it from? I'd have to look and see where I get them, but I paid for them, so I don't have to worry about royalties and stuff like that. That was his actual car. Yeah, that's my car right here. Except, yeah, thanks, Space Shot. I'm dedicated. Except, I drive a Tesla, and Teslas don't make any noise at all. So, this is the sound of my car right here. That was it. That was my car right there. All right. Use Stream Deck, just not my thing. I do make lots of silly noises with your mouth. Right, exactly. Appreciate that. All right. Let's get into this. So here's my app. Ooh, stink bug is on my mouse. Do you guys have stink bugs where you live? Stink bugs are these funny bugs that we have here, at least, and they're really slow and kind of dumb, and they just don't, you know, they're invasive or whatever, but they don't bite or anything. So it was just like all of a sudden I look down, there's a stink bug on my mouse. They seem to like my office here. Okay, lots where you are, Freestyle. Yeah. Stink bugs stink. So, all right, let me look at what I wanted to do here. So, first thing I want to do, the first thing I want to do is go to this home controller. I think there's code I want to comment out. We're playing around last time, and last week we added the ability to add an episode, and I just had it like wired in here. I won't get into that. You know, it was we want to add an episode because the website has the history of the episodes on here, and I hadn't wired up any kind of buttons for it yet and stuff like that. So hang on one second. Hi. Hey, Sarah. My daughter's telling me she's home. Thank you, kiddo. My daughter's home. So she just wanted to let me know she's here. So I had wired up this this add episode async feature right into the index UI just to test and see if it worked. And I noticed that each time I run it, it would add another episode with the first one in here. So, okay. So let's take a look at what we want to do today, and I'll just set the stage for why this is important. I think it's going to be pretty obvious. Here's where I can use my car again, because I started debugging, right? Yay! You guys are going to be tired of I'm going to have to add more sound effects. Oh, it opened on the wrong browser. Let's see. Okay. Oh, wait. Sorry, dragging it around here. Okay, here is my website. Oh, still trying. Still trying. Oh. Oh, and I had a breakpoint. Look at that. I actually got the timing pretty good on that drum roll. I don't know if you noticed that. So here we go. So this is the website, and you can see there's a lot of first one episodes because I had that code in the controller and it just kept doing it. So I want to be able to edit these things. I'm pointing to my screen like you can see. I'm pointing to my. I want to edit these things, but I don't want everyone to be able to edit them. So I need to have security on my website, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is going to add security. Then I'm going to add a UI where I can manage the archives. So that's the deal. Right now, there's no authentication. This is public on my page here. On my I'm running it locally, but it's in Azure and it's public. So what we need to do is, so there's two parts of this. One is we have to set things up in Azure, and the other is we need to add some code in here. So I'm going to start with the code side because I think it makes a little more sense. At least that's the way my brain works. So the first thing I'm doing is going to my ASP project, my ASP.NET project. This is ASP.NET Core 3.1. And I'm going to manage my NuGet packages. And I'm going to browse for Microsoft ASP.NET Core Authentication Azure AD UI, something like that. Hopefully it comes up. Yes, because I was getting tired of typing that. So this is the package we want. Microsoft.asp.net. ASP.NET Core. I always say dot. It's like a habit, like ASP.NET. ASP.NET Core Authentication Azure AD UI. I don't know why it's UI. That seems kind of weird to me, but whatever. And I add that package. And of course, I have to accept all this stuff. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little code to my, let's close some of these pages here. I'm going to go in my layout, and right here on the menu, I want to be able to know if someone's authenticated. No one's authenticated yet, or we haven't added that, but let's do that anyway. Let's say this is all your standard stuff that we're used to doing, right? If identity is authenticated, right? And there's probably better ways to do this, but let's just let's say li class equals nav item. This is sort of the easy part. I call dibs on born identity. Oh, I need a wait. There you go. Space Shot gets a sad trombone, but I appreciate just the same. So let's say hello at user.identity.name. Okay. And then let's say if we're not authenticated, I'm going to say not authenticated. I don't know. Whoops. Oh, I can't do that. Let's see. Else li class equals nav item. And I'll just say not logged in. Something like that. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So this will just work as normal. And if we run it now, although I added that package isn't really doing anything. And if I add this now, we'll be able to see that it just starts up and I'm not authenticated, right? But I kind of just want to show the obvious. I like to show the obvious over and over and again. Let's see. Come on. Oh, it's so slow, right? So slow. Okay, not logged in. Yeah, my formatting is terrible, but that's okay. Let's not worry about that. So we know that I'm not logged in, and life is good there. So let's wire this thing up. So like anything these days, and this is using the middleware concept here, we added our NuGet package. Now we got to go wire it up in the startup. So I have some snippets because I don't want to type these things out. So what do we always do? We go to configure services, and we add in some code here that looks like this: services.add authentication. And then it wants to know the authentication scheme, and I'm using the Azure AD defaults authentication scheme or whatever, I guess. And then add, now I got to add a using, so I'll just fix that. Okay. And then what it's going to say is it's going to add Azure AD. Oh, got to add another using for that. Okay. I'm going to use, tab that in there, using Azure AD, but Azure AD needs to be configured. And what this says is go to my config file, or in this case, the app settings, and bind the options to the section called Azure AD. Okay? So let's do that. Let's add an Azure AD section to my app settings. And I'm going to put this in app settings development because there's going to be some stuff in here that is going to be private, and I don't want it to get checked in. Okay. What we're essentially going to do here is we're going to create something that looks like this, right? We're going to create a section in here. Not Azure, Azure AD, right? And this section will then get mapped into these options, okay? And configuration handles that for you, as long as these options are, I don't know, let's take a look. We can go to this thing. How do we go to, let's try go to definition. I haven't tried this before. Oh, let's go to, can I do that? I guess maybe you can't. I should be able to go to, no, that's not going to work, right? What do I want to do here? Peak definition? Maybe I would need, I thought you could, that doesn't work. I thought I could go into that, but whatever it is, the schema matches, right? So I'm going to have this Azure AD. It's lowercase, so I don't know if much that matters. And then I have this section because I don't want to type this whole thing. But essentially I need to put in a bunch of values into here. And with these values, Azure or my application is going to know how to authenticate me. So the first thing it wants to know is this instance, and it's always login.microsoftonline.com. And the domain is the domain of my Azure subscription. The callback path is signin-OIDC, and the tenant ID and the client ID and the client secret are the things that I'm going to add next or soon. So we're going to have that, okay? And in order to make it work, I still need to do one more thing, which is to go into, I was just checking my notes here, go into configure, and here I'm going to say app.use authentication. And as far as I know, use authentication happens to happen before use authorization. I know sometimes the order of these things matters and sometimes it doesn't, and I'm never really sure, but I try to use my own best judgment. But I remember reading that these two authentication should come before authorization. Okay. So that is just about everything I need to do. This isn't really not too hard. The next thing I need to do is go to Azure. So I'm going to go to the Azure portal, and I'm going to go to Azure Active Directory. Now, something I recently learned is that, this is my personal subscription, and so not tricky at all. Yeah, not tricky. I don't think this is too tricky. I don't think it's too bad. It's if you understand the concepts and things like that. So this is my personal Azure subscription. At work, we use we have a different Azure subscriptions, and we have Azure Active Directory, and it's all synchronized. And I didn't realize that the Active Directory you get out of the box, even with a personal subscription, it's like wired up. It is Active Directory. It just doesn't have anybody in it. It just has me. I'm the only user. But I didn't realize that it's actually the same. Rich Ross actually explained it to me. He explained to me that, it's Active Directory. You can do anything. Well, there's different levels, I think. But most of the stuff you want to do, Rich Ross is now hosting me. See that? All I had to do is say his name, and he's hosting me. That's like magic. I should just start saying other people's names, and maybe they'll just appear on my stream and start hosting me. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Rich Ross. Speaking of Rich Ross and Space Shot, who's out there too, tonight on the Dev Talk Show, if you're watching me now and you like my silly antics, or I don't know, it's supposed to be like zany or whatever. No, seriously, if you're watching me now and you like this kind of stuff, come back to 8:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, the Dev Talk Show. And you can get that at mixer.com/the Dev Talk Show, twitch.tv, the Dev Talk Show, and video.the Dev Talk Show will get you into YouTube. And the three of us tonight will be talking about what's the big topic that everybody's talking about right now. That's on everybody's mind, working remotely. Tips for working remotely. Chris has been working remotely for a long time. I'm working remotely right now. And we've got some thoughts on that. So why don't we have a discussion? Why don't you join us for a discussion on working remotely in this normal times or in complicated times, 8:30 p.m. Eastern in the U.S., the Dev Talk Show. Please join us. Anyway, so I'm back here at my Azure sub. And I'm in Azure Active Directory. And what I need to do is add an app registration. Okay, I need to say that my app is allowed to use Azure. So to do it, I go to New Registration and I give it a name. The name could be anything you want. It's just something you're going to remember it by. And I'm going to call it Shwami. See, I can't even spell my own name. Shwami Streams. Okay. And there's some different settings here. I'm going to use accounts in this organizational directory only, meaning that other tenants don't have access to this thing. It's only my Ingenuity Now tenant. Okay. And then I'm going to tell it I want to use for web applications. So for client application, it's like a web application, and it's going to give me some ability to add some additional things after that. So let's add this. This goes quick. As you can see, it already created it. And now I'm in here. And what I need to do is come in here and add a platform and web, even though that's weird because I sort of thought I did that on the last screen, but maybe not. So enter the redirect URI of the application. Okay, so my application is running locally. And if I want to know where it's running locally, I can hit Alt-Enter. And I can go into my settings here. And I can see now I'm using HTTPS. And here's the URL. It's 44330 is the port. So I'll copy that. And I'll put that in here. Now, one thing you have to remember to do is this will work for now. When I move this thing into, and my application is actually hosted in Azure, I'll need to add more URLs for this whole thing. That's the way it works. I don't think I need a logout URL. I do need to select that I want to get ID tokens back. I'm pretty sure I only need ID tokens. Let's leave it like that for now, if my memory suits. And what this does is this is going to allow the ID token to go back to my application and allow it to be authenticated. Okay, so here's my URL. Now, I also need to add another URI to this. I need to add the same one, I should say, with that ending, which is, I have it over here in notes because I can never remember what it is. Sign in, yeah, it's this thing. Sign in O. And so I guess what this does, and I definitely don't want to, I always try to be honest and say what I know a lot about, what I don't know a lot about. I know that this works. I think I understand what's going on with these URIs, is that Azure is going to be kicking back, and you don't want someone to sort of like hijack you. So you're basically saying you're allowed to kick it back to any of these addresses that are in my list, right? It's going to kick back after it does its thing. Whether it authenticates you or it doesn't, it's going to kick it back, I guess. So let's see. So we did that. Okay. And now I have my Shwami streams starting to get, filled out here. Now, the other thing I need to do is go to certificates and secrets. And I'm going to generate a client secret here. Okay. And I'm not sure what Azure Mask is going to do, but I'm going to delete this thing after we're done today. So if it shows up here, shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to call this the Shwami Streams client secret. And this is a client secret that I'm going to give to my application so that it can call Azure Active Directory to do the authentication. Remember, we saw this stuff over here, right? We're going to fill in these values. That's what we're doing. We're working on getting that stuff. So I'm going to add that, and I'll copy this. And that is the secret, even though it's not that secret because it's on the stream. But I'm going to delete it afterwards, so I don't think it really matters too much. I'm going to take that secret, I'm going to put it right into here. Okay, no sense hiding it because you guys have already seen it. And I thought Azure Mask is supposed to block those things, but I am running Azure Mask. I don't know why it didn't. No big deal. And now I need to go back up here. Up here, see, none of these things are being masked by Azure Mask. I need the client ID, and that's going to go in, oops, that's going to go in here. And the tenant ID is this. Okay, oops. So what this does, it's going to take these configuration values, it's going to take them, and it's going to use them when it does the authentication. Simple as that. Okay? So let me see. There's one or two more things that I need to do. I'm not sure if I need to do them yet, but let me just look. I don't think I need to because we're going to talk about groups after this, but we're doing okay on time. So let's go. Now, nothing should happen. If I run this app, nothing really should be any different because I haven't required authentication yet. But you know what? Let's just do that anyway. Let's be clear. Let's do that now. So I'm going to go to my controller. And right now, if I run this app, it's able to authenticate me, but it doesn't need to authenticate me because I haven't required it anywhere. Let's go to this privacy URL because we all know we want our privacy URLs to be secure. And I'll say authorize. And that authorize attribute, again, works. This is part of ASP.NET, and ASP.NET Core have these kind of attributes that wire into the authentication system and the authorization system, and it will check against claims and different things like that. In this case, since I haven't told it any roles I want to be in, it just says, this is like a default that says you have to be authenticated. Now, let me just think, did I do everything? Oh, who knows? Let's just go for it and we'll figure it out. But I think I got most of the tasks in because this isn't really overly complex. But let's see what happens. Now, there's a chance that there's an old cookie in here and it might still think I'm authenticated. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's get this over to here. So there's a couple of gotchas that you can run into with this. One of them has to do with the cookie. So I'll explain that in a second. Let's just see. So look, there it says I'm not logged in, right? Which is fine. I'm not. And so when I go to the privacy page, it now is going to see that authorization attribute if all goes well. So let's hope that it does. And look at that. You can see right off the bat, it's challenged me, right? How about, come on, right? It's challenging me right there and saying, you need to log in. It did not ask me to do that on the other page. So right off the bat, we're off to a good start. I am going to use my account that's in here, and there it is. And look, it says hello, and it gives you this weird, now again, it gives you this weird username. I'm using I'm using my personal account. It's not really Active Directory, but what it does is it takes your email address that your account is under, and it turns it into an ID, and it turns it into this live.com. But we can change that. But the point is, it authenticated me, and authorization rules came into account, and it made sure that I was valid for that page. Now, of course, I can go back to the home page. It doesn't care. And if I go back to privacy, I'm in already. It knows who I am. Now, something that's worth considering. English language is hard. What's worth considering is something that you might run into is if you're doing this and you're playing around with this thing, you're no doubt, like I've done some silly things in here where I've typed things wrong and I fixed it. And then even after I fixed it, things didn't work. It wouldn't fix in the way I would expect it to. And the reason is that there's this cookie in here, which holds the authentication information. And sometimes if you don't delete the cookie, you can't always force it to, you need to clear that out sometimes, depending on what you're doing. So anyway, if you want to unauthenticate yourself, you could clear the cookie. I don't have a logout button. Of course, I could add one. So I've cleared that cookie, and now if I refresh the page, which page did I go to? I guess I went to the one that was requiring authentication. Let's just go back to the main page, which is localhost. This one should not require any authentication, right? Because I'm not logged in. And again, if I go to privacy page, because my privacy page is private, I'm authenticated again and the cookie's back. So that cookie is something to keep an eye out for. I can tell you that I've spent a lot of time trying to troubleshoot this, and it was like, oh, I forgot to clear that cookie, and things are probably working really well. I will tell you what else went wrong last time I was doing this. I was over here, and like an idiot, I spelled tenant like that, okay? And what do you think happened when I did that? Well, obviously it didn't work, but the error was just totally useless. I fumbled with it for a really long time before I was able to come back and realize that I had like a little typo in here. And isn't that the joy of JSON, and the joy of YAML if you use YAML. I think Scott Hanselman had something that was yesterday on I think he was the one who posted something on Twitter about YAML, and what a pain in the neck with spaces and dashes. And anyway, I digress a bit. So we've got authentication working here in its basics. Now there's one more thing I want to show. And sorry, hang on one sec. So there's one more thing I want to show here. Is there joy in YAML? I don't think so, Space Shot. I say no. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I feel like we've digressed. We've gone backwards. How often did we the reason we liked C# over JavaScript, at least I did for all those years, is because, JavaScript was so loosey-goosey and it was just text, and, then they came up with TypeScript to solve that problem of having like type safety on things. But there's no type safety on these things, right? Where's the safety? I don't know. So let's do one more thing. The other thing I'm going to do, I like JavaScript too, Space Shot, right? I didn't used to. I mean, I've actually come to really like it. And I think that TypeScript is just an amazing layer on top. But I do like JavaScript. It took me a while to get there though, because I was so used to, a safe language like C#. So what I also want to show you is about roles. So let's say I want to say that not just anybody can come into this page, the privacy page, but you have to be in a certain role. So what I want to say is, roles equals, and I'm going to put a string in here, and let's just say I want it to be like an admin or something like that, right? That would be what I would do. Now, at this point, there are no roles in my system. So this, of course, won't work. Or it would just say you're denied because I'm not in that role. So what I need to do, the way you can do this pretty easily with Azure Active Directory is to go up into groups here. And I'm going to create a group. Oh, look, I have a group. I guess I thought I deleted it. I guess I forgot to delete it. So there's this Shwami Streams admin group. All right, I can even make a new one because I called that last one admin. Let's just do, let's just do new group and call it admin. And I'll say admin users for the website, right? And if I hit create, I mean, I'm not even going to do this because if I hit create, all it does is creates this group that looks just like the last one. There's not much to groups. But within groups, I can add members. And in this group, we should see that there is a member. The member is me. I can add members. Now, there's not a lot of users in my Azure Active Directory. Matter of fact, it's just me, and there's another one that I created in here somewhere, I think called test, or maybe it's called Andy. Yeah, test user. So my Active Directory is really like a cool place to hang out. There's a lot of great folks like me and test user there. So, yeah, that's what you get with that. So, but I'm in this group now, okay? So since I'm in that group, let's close this. Since I'm in that group, that's great, but that doesn't enable all the group information to come down into my requests when I do that. I want to get the group information when I authenticate people. So the way to do that is to go back to my app registrations. Go to Shwami Streams again. This is my app registration. And I need to go into manifest. Now, I don't know why. I guess the UI doesn't do everything that the service under the covers is capable of doing. And so there's this manifest where there's a lot of other information in here that I guess you can't get to through here. And the thing we care about is one called group membership claims, okay? And what I want to do is I want to change this to be security group, okay? And that will pass these security groups as claims down to my application, right? And I think there's one other thing I want to do, but I kind of want to try it because it strikes me as odd that there's another step I have to do. What the other step is, I'll show it to you now so I can prove that I knew this in advance just in case this fails. I think this might fail, but the other thing we need to do to get what I think we need to do is come into services and put something like this in here where I say I want to configure my OpenID connect options. I'm not even going to do this yet, so don't worry about this warning there. And it says role claim type is groups, okay? And what this is supposed to do is take those groups and turn them into role claims, okay? But I kind of want to try it without that and see what happens. I'm just curious. Now, there's one other problem I have, and I'm sure there's a way to fix it, but I don't know how to do it yet. So the problem is when I try to authenticate here against this group called, well, it wasn't called admin, first of all. It's called, save that, right? Groups. The group is called Shwami Streams Admin, okay? What I haven't figured out how to do is to use that name. Okay, for me, the only way it's worked so far is to come over here and take this object ID, which I can't get to right now because it's blurred. Now, can I copy it? Yes, I can copy it here. So I copy that object ID. I like the way it's masking some of these things, but it's not masking everything. And it's just a group. I don't know if it even matters because I'm going to delete it anyway. This is the role. And so if I do it like this, it understands it. So somehow I'm getting the ID of the group. I'm getting the group, but I'm not getting the metadata around the group down into my thing. So now let's find out if this works. But there's a good chance it won't because I didn't add that other line of code. But I want to find out if it works without it. Hope you don't mind a little experimentation here on Shwami Streams. And if you're waiting and you're watching and you just got here, I'll remind you, please follow me on Mixer and Twitch, if that's where you are. If you're on YouTube, hey, subscribe. Maybe give me the thumbs up on the video. I've been working on another set of videos that I want to show you guys. Let's check this out, right? I'm trying something new on YouTube and love to hear thoughts on things, but let me just go in real quick. Oh my gosh, things are slow. So here on my YouTube channel, while I'm waiting for that other thing here, I started this new group of videos, like these little 5-minute, 7-minute videos, like short form tutorials. There's a lot of topics where I think I enjoy a long form like this, where we can get into like longer conversations and you can comment and you can ask questions and things like that. You guys are pretty quiet today, but that's cool. Sometimes we have more conversation, sometimes we have less. Maybe this topic is just so simple that it just doesn't require. But at the same time, I thought, what about like short form? So like the other day, last week on the Dev Talk Show, we talked about feature toggles. I made this quick 7-minute video, which just kind of goes through it really quick. And I'm kind of hoping people like those. So if you're interested in that, check these videos out. So far, there's 2 of them, 5 minutes on fluent assertions and 7 minutes on feature toggles. I feel like, remember the movie Something About Mary, where Ben Stiller, was it Ben Stiller, who has this idea for an invention, and it was like, I think there was like, 7-minute abs or something like that. And then he said, well, I'm going to make 6-minute abs, was like an exercise routine. And he said, no, 6-minute abs. And then someone said, well, if you make 6-minute abs, someone else is just going to come along and make 5-minute abs. And he freaks out. He's like, no, you can't do 5-minute abs. That's ridiculous. Who could get a good workout in 5 minutes? 6-minute abs. Like, that's the workout, right? That's the clip. I should find this. Let's see. Let's look. We're on YouTube. Ben Stiller, Something About Mary. I think it was like 6 minutes. Yeah, minute abs. I don't know what it was. Let's see. 6-minute jokes. Here it is. This is somebody, we've redone these things. Here's the clip. Can I play this on here? I don't know. I don't know if the audio comes through.
No problem.
Does audio come through? Can you guys tell me?
I could use the company.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been standing in the same spot for 5.5 hours. You know they made it illegal to hitch.
Where's the stupid clip I want?
Nothing.
I am.
I don't really have any, money or...
You heard minute abs.
Oh, it was this guy.
Right. Yes. Okay. All right. I see where you're going.
Think about it. You walk into a video store, you see 8-minute abs sitting there. There's
Right.
7-minute abs right beside it. Which one are you gonna pick, man?
I would go for the 7. Yeah, I'd go for
Bingo, man. Bingo. 7-minute abs. And we guarantee just as good a workout as the 8-minute, folk.
You guarantee it? That's how do you do that?
If you're not happy with the first 7 minutes,
I don't know. This is going on too long. This is funny
the
though.
extra minute, free. See, that's it. That's our motto. That's where
This guy
we're
freaks
coming
out
from,
when he
man,
asks
from
him
A to
about.
B.
What's up with 6-minute abs? Then you're in trouble.
Here we go. I skipped ahead. Look at the guy's face.
No, not 6. I said 7. Nobody's coming up with 6. Who works out in 6 minutes? You want
All right, enough of that silliness, right? Hope you enjoyed that little bit of humor. I don't usually do that kind of stuff. Let's just, whatever. That's what stream's about. You do whatever you want. So I wanted to see if this was going to work. That's what we were trying to do. And so where's my page? Here it is. So it has me logged in. Now, I will tell you that I don't think there's any chance it's going to work right now if I do this. And that is what I was talking about before, is that no matter what, it still had that cookie from before. All right, so I'm going to kill this cookie and redo it. Who works out for 6 minutes, right? Space Shot. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm going to do 5 minutes on fluent assertions, and then someone else is going to do 4 minutes on fluent assertions. I'll just freak out like that guy. Like, what do you mean 4 minutes? You can't do 4 minutes on fluent assertions. All right, so it's gonna authenticate me now. Let's find out if it gets the role without that extra line of code. Didn't work. And the reason I'm getting this particular error, by the way, this is basically a 404, but it's not telling me I'm not authenticated. This is telling me I can't be found because it's trying to return me to an access denied. Like there's no access denied page. I'll do 2 on how I don't like fluent assert. Oh, freestyle. That hurt. 2 minutes on how I don't like fluent assertions. Come on, man. That hurt. That hurt. I'd watch it anyway. I'd like to see why you don't like them. If you're joking or not, I don't know. But I'd like to find out why you don't like fluent assertions. So that would be a video I'd watch. And in 2 minutes, I wouldn't mind putting in the time, right? Because it's just a short video. Should be. Yeah, there's your fluent assertion right there. Time span from seconds 30. Yeah, 30 seconds max. All right. So they're just opinions, man. No. I'm laughing with you. Don't worry. Everyone is welcome to share their thoughts here. That's what I like, and that's what I actually like about the Dev Talk Show, where there's 3 of us hosts, is that we have different opinions. And what works for one doesn't work for the other. And it's why it's so great that we have all these different options. And the best thing about something like, in the case of like fluent assertions, it's just assertions, right? It doesn't even really change that much. So whether you want to use them or not, it doesn't really matter, right? So no, good for you. Stick to what you like. And I was only kidding around. I hope you knew that. I was kidding around when I said that hurt, But I would look forward to watching your video, that's for sure. So, all right, let's go in and then add that one section of code. And I guess I do need this, is the point. I just thought maybe since I put that other value on the, okay, good. Thanks, Freestyle. So, let's see, let's put this in. And now, this should authenticate against that group. Now again, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. Well, it might not fail. It might fail because the cookie should already have the data because I cleared the cookie last time. Yeah, so let's see. This should work. Again, it's going to the wrong monitor. And we're going here, and I go to privacy. Okay. So, still says access denied. So, I shouldn't have done that. Let's run that again. I'm going to clear the cookie just in case. Because this is probably where it takes and makes the cookie in here. Yeah, you know what? So, all right, let's try that. Okay, sorry. It keeps going to the wrong screen. I keep telling it to come to this screen. All right, let's kill the cookie. And let's refresh the page. Again, I'm not logged in. I go to privacy, and it's going to ask me to log in. And if I did this right, okay, now it wants to know that it's getting more information, right? This is actually something you can do. It's going to request permission because I told it to give me more information, right? And we never got this prompt before, which I think is really interesting. So I'm going to say accept. And there's actually a way that I think you can change this. But look, now I'm in. Now I'm in because it had that security group, and it turned it into a claim, and it turned it into a role claim for me, with just like a couple lines of code to wire up. Now, what I need to figure out is how do I get, like, this is really great, by the way. I mean, I'm bragging here for myself, but I think this is really cool. I think this is how many lines of code do we have in there? Like, I don't know, 10 lines of code with spaces and stuff in there. And a little bit of configuration over here. And we have role-based authentication based on Azure Active Directory. Now, this is perfect for my situation because what we're going to do is we're going to add another page on here, which is like the edit page. and I'll just put the role on there. I'm already in Active Directory. I'm the only one who's allowed to edit these things for now. I could always add more people to my Active Directory if I need to, but this is really easy. There's certainly other great ways to do authentication. You can use, all those cool things where you use Facebook authentication and, all the other platforms for authentication. And those aren't wrong. Those are great. As a matter of fact, in many use cases, those are even better when you have external users. But I'm already in the Active Directory. This just works great for this scenario. So what I need to figure out is how to get the name. This is lame. I think we would all agree. This is not the user experience or the developer type user experience that we want. So I don't know how to do that. And we're just about out of time. So unless one of you guys just happens to know how to do this, one of my friends out there on the stream knows how to do that, we could try it. I feel like this show's been about an hour, and we could go with that. Or I could Google it. Who wants to? Should we Google it? I don't know. Does anybody care? I care. Let's see. What do we want to do? Let's see. I don't even know what I would Google on that. I got to think about that for a second. I want to look up how to get group names. How to do what again? Space shot. The thing is that when I get the groups down from Azure, I get the name, I get the ID, the object ID of the group. But what I really want is the group that I can turn it into like a role name, right? So, you have done this, but you forget how, right? So I'm going to Google it, and let's just see. Maybe it's like super easy. How to get group names from Azure AD for roles or something like that. Let's see if that. Configure group claims. The problem is I don't like to stop and read these things. So this is what we're getting now. We're getting that object ID. Something I feel like something you set in the manifest. Right, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, Space Shot. I would not be surprised. Prerequisites for group attribute. Let's see. Security groups. What's this? Group claims preview. Add group claim. Wait, what's this? Oh, this is SAML. This is not exactly the same thing, so I don't know if that would work. But I wonder if there's a group claims. Groups assigned to the application. Did I not see something over here? Group memberships. I don't know where that group claims thing would be. Maybe it's over in the app registration. I go into here and maybe it would be in this section. Add group claims. Optional claims are used to configure additional information which is returned in one or more tokens. Security groups. Yeah, look at this. Group ID. Well, I guess the SAM account is the name of the group. Since these are group, I don't know. I don't know enough about Active Directory to know like what these things mean, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. Adding the group claim applies to access ID and SAML. So I'm using ID tokens. Okay. So what if I say security groups, because we know we need that. And I don't know. Emit groups as role claims. Maybe I just want to do that. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I think I played with this once before, though. This sounds familiar because I remember doing this. And I think that maybe, let's see, this still says security group. Access token, groups. I don't know if this was in here before because I didn't look at it. But what we can do is we can put a breakpoint in the code and see what kind of information we're getting. I don't know. Let's try this. And if this doesn't work, maybe we'll wrap it up. I don't know. What I'm going to do for a breakpoint is I'm going to go to my layout where I've already got this like is authenticated. And I can look in there and see what kind of claims are in there and see if we can see the name now. I don't know, maybe it'll work. And maybe that negates something else I did, in a good way. Like maybe it makes something else easier. We know we can get the groups. The question is, can we get the group name? Well, I'd be really surprised if there's not an easy way to do it. But I'm going to let this go because I want to kill the cookie just in case. So I'll go back out of here, clear the cookie, and hit privacy. Okay, that's all right. Let's go back to the previous page. Web admins? Well, I already have. Oh, well, yeah, I know I need to do that, but when I did do that space shot, it wouldn't recognize the name when I did that before. It would fail when I put the name under the authorize, and it would say I don't know what that name means, and then when I put that ID value in there, it worked. And so I guess I want to see if now. Why didn't I hit the breakpoint? I should have hit a breakpoint. Yes, that is my goal. That is exactly my goal. And okay, I'm sure you've done that, right? I'm pretty sure we can do this. I appreciate it. Yeah. So let's wait. What happened? How did I get over here? So let's try this again now. I don't know. Okay, now, here's my breakpoint. Okay, so if I go to user, I go to claims. I don't see any role. Oh, here's role. See, the role claim has like a name on it. Which one was it? Let's say it was this one. Now let's see if underneath it there's like a name. Like I would think there has to be some kind of string value in here that is associated. And here it's just a value. It's just not giving me the name. And I think that that's what the problem is. So if I authorize against this value, it works, which is like really close. But I think I'd want to see like the name of the group in that place right there. At least that's my hunch. And I just need to figure out how to do it. But hey, you know what? It's like 2 minutes after 1. I want to be respectful with your time. And I need to get back to work. And if you're working, maybe you need to get back to work. If you're just off today or it's in the evening where you are, or you're just hanging out, I hope you're having a great time. And I hope you go back to having a great time. I think I'm really psyched. I think this is generally easy to do. And it made for a good 1 hour of content. So if you're around tonight, hope to see you on the Dev Talk Show with me and with Space Shot and with Rich Ross. And the Dev Talk Show on Mixer, Twitch, or YouTube. Mixer and Twitch / the Dev Talk Show. And YouTube is video.thedevtalkshow.com. Tonight we're going to be talking about working remotely and all the joys and pains that go along with that. There's pros, there's some cons. We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. It seems to be something that's affecting everybody. Hope to see you guys soon. Hope to see you back again here next week. Wednesday at noon Eastern time, where we'll be streaming. I don't know what we'll be doing next week. Maybe we'll add another feature. Maybe we'll figure this groups thing out. I don't know. But thanks for being here with me. Thanks for contributing and chatting a little bit and kidding around. And I will see you guys soon.